Marching down the road for me, or marching in general, is just another day at the office for a lot of people. However, this inaugural is very significant for a number of reasons. For me personally, it's significant because I'll be leading the U.S. Marine Band for the first time, which is huge. It's just very, very important when we go down the road that we look like we are the best band in the world. You know, we have a lot to live up to.
The United States Marine Band traces its history back to July 11th, 1798, when President John Adams signed an act of Congress.
Along with my passion for music, I have a real passion for history, and I'm able to satisfy both of those passions with this job.
We have been involved in every inaugural since that day.
The way things are done today are very, very similar to the way it was done 20, 30, 40 years ago.
It was tradition for musicians to wear a uniform coat which was the opposite colors of the other troops in the field. So if Marines were wearing a dark blue coat trimmed in red, Marine musicians would wear a bright red coat trimmed in dark blue. This was done so that field commanders could find their musicians.
If you can imagine walking up to a 99-piece unit, everybody's wearing red coats, everybody has blue trousers. Who's in charge? When you see the giant fur hat and a guy with a mace and a baldric, you're pretty sure that's the guy who's calling the shots. You know, to be able to lead the U.S. Marine Band down Pennsylvania Avenue in front of the White House, in front of the President of the United States, and to be the guy in the front of that organization, really, I'm trying not to think about it, because if I don't think about that, I'm not going to get nervous about that. But it's a big deal. The mace is something that is a symbol of authority. Our mace, on the top of it, has listed all of the wars that the Marine Corps has been in. And this is a relatively new mace, and it's actually updated through Iraq. Of course, there's a presidential seal on the mace, as well as the seal of the United States Marine Corps. When we spin that mace, it's for a very specific reason. We don't spin the mace to be fancy. We don't throw it up in the air. We're not trying to impress anybody with what we do. What we are doing is conveying a very specific message to our band members about what we need from them. I can give the band forward march, right turn, left turn, counter march, mark time mark, halt. I can give them, we're about ready to play, bring your horns up, play with the mace without saying anything verbal. It's all silent.
By the time the event comes, we want to make sure there are no surprises, that we're completely and totally prepared for any contingency.
There's an awful lot that goes into this besides just walking down the road and playing music. If you're trying to be next to someone who's 10 people down from you, that's very, very difficult. Then you put into that an instrument in your hand, bad weather, an instrument on your face, and you're playing, it gets even more difficult.
If the temperature goes into the lower 20s, the moving parts of the brass instruments freeze up and won't move, and you can't play those instruments. So we have a special composition which is called Frozen Horns. It's a march, basically, built on fanfare figures that brass can play without using the valves or without moving the slides of the trombones. So no matter how cold it is for the inaugural parade, we know that we can perform music for the President as we march by.
And we will salute and do an eyes left to the President of the United States. And that is essentially us acknowledging the President as our new Commander-in-Chief.
And it's a great honor to be the musical organization that plays Hail to the Chief immediately after the President takes his oath of office.
And I will tell you, when you hear that, to know that that's the Marine Band. You may not see us because we're often not on the camera shot. We're there, but we're just a little bit below the camera. But when you hear that music that is so associated with the President of the United States, to know that it's the Marine Band playing it.
And then that starts a whole new presidential administration, and very much looking forward to what sort of musical support this administration is going to want from us. And being the President's own, we're intimately involved with all of that at the White House. and really, really hoping that, that President Obama's a fan of music.